welcome everyone to SSBills Talk, episode 8, heading into the dead part of the off season, but we're never dead here. We got lots to talk about today. Dr. Duncan Lawrence Foster along with you. Happy Sunday and Memorial Day weekend to everybody and you.
Welcome in.
Yes, we have a brilliant show in store for you today. This time of year is a lot of time where you see a lot of lists being done by people, best players in the league, best players all time, etc. We have a different twist today. We're going to be doing the best, not necessarily the best, our offensive kind of fantasy draft, but the couple caveats there. Number one, it has to be during our lifetime. So anybody who's of an older generation that's going to be either watching or listening at some point down the road, we're not going to be including the electric company offensive line as great as they were. We're not including O.J. Simpson or any of your fan favorites like Joe Cribbs, Joe Ferguson, any of them. This is from our lifetime. So essentially the Super Bowl era Bills to now. So as you're preparing for the show, what were some things you were thinking about on the team you would like to construct?
I think I texted you, but tight end is a tricky one.
Yeah, it is. But and that's where the caveat of I'm not necessarily always going to pick who I think the best players are. I'm going to pick like favorites, like maybe some they're maybe not like the best player ever, but they have one or two key moments you just stick them in. Like I really like that.
Yeah, but then again, I just think it's tight end, right? Of Charles Clay, Robert Royal, Tyler Croft, Dawson. I mean, it just.
I mean, the Bills have had terrible tight ends for sure, but that's where the fun of it comes. We got to find two each, and they can't be the same.
I know.
So much like a fantasy draft, this works of kind of snaking through, but we do have to have multiple of each position. So we're going to have 2 quarterbacks, 3 running backs.
Okay.
We'll probably say 2 tight ends because 3 might be hard. 5 wide receivers, and we'll do 1 each of offensive line because that'd be too hard to do 2 of everything.
So does the person have to be like drafted by the Bills in our lifetime, or
No, they played for the Bills?
Okay.
So I mean, anybody that played for the Bills between the Super Bowl era Bills and now, and it'll be fun. We'll see like who we pick. Maybe I know I probably have some people you're not gonna ever pick. So
yeah, like your knowledge of the '90s Bills far outweighs mine. So
yeah, for those who don't know, like I grew up and we always bought this is dating me, the VHS highlight tapes of the Bills each year. And I can't even count the number of times I've watched all that. I still watch them now on YouTube. Every now and again, when I'm bored, I'll just throw up a YouTube video of the highlight videos and watch it. And I can recite the announcer almost word for word what he says throughout the highlight video. So it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. Hopefully it generates some conversation from people, Bills fans, maybe exclusions or people, man, how could you not pick him?
I forgot.
Yeah, that's generally that's probably going to be the response of if we didn't pick somebody you love, we probably forgot. We are old. But we have not even determined who's going to go first. I'm going to be the gentleman. I'm going to let you go first. You can take Josh Allen because I would, as much as I love Josh, I think yours is second to none in your
borderline. How are you?
Yeah. So I was gonna let you go as far as you wanted on that one. So again, multiple people were gonna snake through it. Once a player is drafted, they can't be taken by the other person. So you're up with pick 1 for your roster. Who you got?
So, and can we pick a player at any position at any time?
On offense, yeah, like whoever you think is going to be taken by me. If you want to jump on him before, that's.
I mean, I'm taking 17.
Yeah, I figured you'd take Josh Allen first. So reasoning why him over Jim Kelly, let's say.
Just because, I mean, he's already passed Jim in so many statistical categories as it is. He's has tools that Jim has, and then some. Granted, we didn't know the all-timers that Jim played with at the time, but Jim played with some all-timers, and Josh Allen has not, and he still had a lot of success. Um, and granted, Jim did go to 4 Super Bowls, but again, these games are team success, and Josh has been in a lot of games. And all right, see ya. And he's lost them to no fault of his own. And so I feel like if you were to take these quarterbacks and flip them, put Josh in Jim's era and Jim in Josh's era, Josh likely wins Super Bowls, whereas I don't know if Jim has the same success that Josh has with this, in this era with these teams.
Oh yeah, and I was reading a story today about Joe DeLamielleure. Again, we're talking old people. He's part of that electric company offensive line that blocked for OJ back in the day. And he was talking about just like how great Josh would have been in that era of football, just like with his skill set and everything.
Yeah.
So I could have also, I think you got into the Bills after Jim.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you have the memories of, I don't even have that many because the things I remember is at the tail end of his career.
Right.
So that would make, I think, a lot of people be in your boat. But it is nice to at least have a position like that where I'm not going to let you make Jim Kelly your backup quarterback. Destroyed that way. So I'm going to have to take Jim, obviously. That's a good second option. And I had to get something to write down so I don't forget who's been drafted. That's what I got my whiteboard. That's why I had to get up and get.
Gotcha.
So I'm keeping track of who has who. So I'm taking Jim. Like you said, if I was first, I would have taken Josh Allen as well. But Jim is the one who really put the Bills on the map after decades of just awfulness. Made the Bills a household team. And it seems like when the Bills have a quarterback like that, they're nationally loved. But then after they go down into the tank. So Jim, I didn't get to watch much of his career live, but like I said, those highlight videos, watching him run that K-gun offense, an offense ahead of its time, quite frankly. Lots of fun. Just he could never cash in at the end. So Jim Kelly, for me, 2 quarterbacks off the board. But snake draft, I get to go again. I am going to take. Who am I going to take?
I know I'm taking next.
I'm going to take a wide receiver.
All right.
And he's probably my favorite non-quarterback player ever. I'm going to take Eric Moulds. Like, Eric did what he did with mostly crappy quarterback play, mostly nothing around him, and just he was a beast of a guy. Like, when he came up, was essentially when I really got into football, like hardcore. So just watching him play, like the speed he had, the power, he was so strong. Fell just short of 10,000 career yards too, which sucks. He couldn't just get like one more catch to get over that. But
bring him back.
I've literally thought like get him in here, get a screen pass, get him going. But he's right up there like with Nate Clements as one of my favorite Bills players of all time. So Eric Moulds for me to go into the next round.
All right. Well, I'm not going to go receiver. I'm going to go running back. And he's not as well known for his career in Buffalo, but he got his start as Buffalo Bill. Marshawn Lynch.
Beast mode.
That's running back. I mean, that's, I still remember when we were, 4-0. We had Trent Edwards at quarter. Maybe we were 5-0 at the time. And they did a special on Marshawn Lynch and beast mode. I think you and I were roommates in college.
Yeah.
And then I think either that game or the game before, like Edwards got rocked and Captain Checkdown became even more checkdowny, and like the season just unraveled from there. That hot start, we were 5-1, something like that. It just completely unraveled. But Marshawn was a big part of that, and obviously everyone knows him for what he did in Seattle and whatnot. yeah, he was awesome when he was here. Remember when he got into like some traffic issue with a fan, like he hit somebody or hit someone's car, but like they were Bills fans, so like nothing happened of it. Yeah. Marshawn Lynch at running back, and then for receiver, Andre Reed. Again, like you said with Jim, a guy that I didn't really watch hardly at all, but he holds most Bills receiving records. Hall of Famer. I think he's granted. We all knew that Shakir was good, but I have to imagine working a year with Reed has really helped him take the next step. So again, I can't say too much about Reed just because I didn't watch him play, but he's a Hall of Famer for a reason, instrumental on all of those Super Bowl teams. So yeah, that's my big three.
You got your big three. I'm going to complete mine right now. I'm going to take Thurman Thomas.
I knew you were.
Running back. You want to talk about somebody ahead of his time. Thurman Thomas was Marshall Faulk. He set the way for Marshall Faulk, for the LaDainian Tomlinses, being able to be a legitimate receiver. Go watch his receiving highlights, like making 40, like diving 40-yard field downfield catches, like leading the league in scrimmages like 3 years in a row that nobody had ever done at that time. He should have been the Super Bowl MVP in the first Super Bowl if Jim Kelly and the offense wasn't so hard-headed of trying to pass the ball like they did. If they would have just kept running him, he had over 120 yards, a touchdown run that should have been like the highlight of his career and everything, and probably still is. Thurman was way ahead of his time. I hate that he finished his career in Miami. I really do. But all-timer, he doesn't get talked nearly enough for what he did overall as a running back. But Thurman would be my pick. And then the next one, I'm going to go with another running back, Fred Jackson.
Knew it.
Fred Jackson. He is quintessential Buffalo. He, along with Kyle Williams, I think, were the defining players of the drought era that they gave everything they had all the time. They were pure Buffalo and how they carried themselves, and just the sucks that he played during that time period and that year before he got hurt, another year we started off really hot. Like, he was MVP talk for that first 5 or 6 games, just leading the league in rushing and touchdowns, and then he gets hurt against Dallas, and our season just goes down the pooper. But Fred Jackson is probably, right along with Kyle, one of my favorite drought era Bills players.
Yeah, same. And I mean, I think Fred, Kyle, and Stevie are probably the big three.
Yep. So that leads it to you for 2 more.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with another receiver. I'm going to take, as much as his tenure with Buffalo was a little bit rocky towards the end, you can't argue his production on the field. So Stephon Diggs is my next receiver. His connection with Josh is, amongst the, history of tandems, quarterback receivers over a 4-year stretch, it's almost unmatched. The number of receptions, the number of yards, the number of touchdowns. It truly was a special connection for the 4 years he was in Buffalo. It's just too bad that he couldn't shut up, and now he has to play for New England. But when he was in the field, you never questioned how much effort he was going to give you. He gave you everything he wanted, and his desire to win ultimately, I think, was his undoing, because he just started blaming everyone in terms of why they couldn't get over the hump. But Diggs is the next one.
I was wondering if you were if your feelings on him of how it ended was going to not allow you to draft him. I was wondering, is Steph going to sneak to me in the next set? But
and
swallowed it and picked him.
Yeah, swallowed it. I'm good at that. Take another receiver, a guy that I know you like, a guy that Again, if he was in a different era or if his quarterback was allowed.
Can I guess his number before you say it?
I mean, you already know who it is.
But can I guess? Just see if I
Yes.
got it. Number 83.
If that's Lee Evans, then yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I was wondering if it was going to be.
Again, this like Lee Evans was about when I really started to get full into the Bills, right when we had drafted JP Lossman, and Lossman. I mean, I still remember that game where Lee Evans, I think, had 2 83-yard touchdown catches.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a guy. It's sort of like, I mean, not obviously as good, or at least doesn't have the accolades as Eric Moulds, but he had the speed. He had size. He was, I mean, on the team that had a bunch of nobodies throwing to him, he still continued to be productive. And so I think if you were able to take a guy like that and put him in an offense that featured Josh Allen, even if he was the only receiver, he'd be doing what a lot of these top tier guys are doing, because he's just smart and savvy and could get open. So, yeah.
And he played with even less quarterback. At least Moulds had a few years of Drew Bledsoe, right? Like Evans had like nobody his career pretty much.
I mean, I sort of think of him in regards to like Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, obviously Larry Fitzgerald is much better, but still, like Larry did what he did with this carousel of quarterbacks, and it wasn't towards the end that he had some stability. Or we look at Andre Johnson, right? Just constantly turning over quarterbacks and a bunch of nobodies, but he still was productive.
Yep. So you getting a solid quarterback room. Just a rundown of our rosters thus far. You have Josh Allen, Marshawn Lynch, Andre Reed, Stephon Diggs, and Lee Evans. So you got quite the trips package there on receiver there.
Sure do.
And I got Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Fred Jackson, and Eric Moulds. So I got two of my running backs. I need another. I'm going to go wide receiver. I'm going to go with somebody that played only a few years with the Bills, but his impact, one of the greatest all time, James Lofton. Like we look at this year's team and how we wish we had like somebody with just speed. James Lofton was the definition of speed back in the day. And that was like an addition that, like coming from the Raiders, coming from the Packers, he really, in those first few Super Bowls, he was a key component of those teams. So James Lofton might be remembered best as a Bills receiver just because of the success his teams had. But somebody the highlight videos are where I love him. So many deep touchdown passes from Jim to him is why I picked him. Then I'm going to go offensive line. We're going to go with the Snowman at left tackle. I think he is my favorite offensive lineman in my Bills fandom. He gets better every year. Heck, he just even was one of the main reasons the offensive line are now going to get end-of-year recognition in the awards ceremonies. He gets better every year. He's so good that then referees have messed up calling penalties on him because his move is so good it looks like a hold. But any offensive lineman, even on other teams, are saying how good his move is. Remember what I'm talking about against the Lions, where he did that quick swipe of the hands and he knocked him down. And then Josh's touchdown pass, and it got called back there because the refs thought he grabbed him and pulled him down instead of Jason Kelsey's like, man, that's a great block. And so the fact that you're so good that the refs mess up how you block people. I love Deion Dawkins. He's my second pick this round to go start the offensive line out.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go receiver again. A guy who has been one of my favorite players ever since I was, had my stint liking the 49ers. He was a Bill for 1 year and bounced around towards the end of his career, but his productivity, his skill set, again, a bit of a drama queen, but somebody who still looks like he could come out and play. So my fourth pick will be Terrell Owens.
Yeah. And I know he was we were so excited when they signed him too. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4.
Four
one receiver spot left, just so you know.
Yeah. And or I say you can't take another offensive lineman, so I'll leave my guy for.
I can't take a left tackle. I can take four. I can take left guard, center, right guard, and right tackle.
I thought we were only doing one offensive lineman.
I meant like per position.
Oh, okay.
That's why I took Dawkins before you could.
Oh well, this guy is a left tackle, so you can't take him anyways. But I'm gonna go running back, and a dude for which I think he had some off the field issues towards the end of his career, but a guy when he played for Buffalo, you and I liked him a lot. Bruiser of a runner. I think that's sort of like that's my running. That's going to be my backfield. Whereas these guys, have some receiving ability, but for the most part, they are true running backs. Is who it is?
Travis Henry.
Travis Henry. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. We liked him a lot when he was a Bill. Yeah. He got hurt, I think, one year. Then it really wasn't the same. But Travis Henry was
That's a good Lynch and Henry. That's a good tandem there.
I mean, like they are very similar in terms of their skill set, I think. But he had a rush for 1,400, 1,440 1 year, 1,360 the next year. Then got hurt the year after that, so had a 1,200 yard year for the Titans. So was a good back, and when he played for us, he was solid.
Oh yeah, I had a Travis Henry jersey, so I loved him. And Travis Henry also loves having children. So
sure does.
I think he also loves prison food as well at this point.
Yeah, he has drug trafficking arrest.
But he was great with the Bills
transaction.
He's kind of our era's O.J. Simpson, except less
good.
Yeah. So refreshing, you have Josh Allen, Marshawn Lynch, Travis Henry, Stephon Diggs, Lee Evans, T.O., and Andre Reed. I have Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Fred Jackson, Eric Moulds, James Lofton, and Deion Dawkins. I'm not taking any tight ends till the end because I am almost guaranteed that you're not going to take us. But I just know that you're not going to take who I'm going to pick because I'm pretty sure you won't. They're kind of fringe guys. That's the fun of it, though. So I'm going to go. Who do I have? I need one more running back. I only have two receivers. I'm going to go wide receiver. And I'm going to take Shakir.
Ooh.
You and I, since his rookie year, every time he got on the field, he makes plays.
Mm-hmm.
This year, he became Josh's go-to guy, his blanket, his do-everything guy. I think the best is yet to come for him. So this is kind of a potential, but I just love the way he plays. He would fit in any era of football. Just he doesn't go down. Like, when does he ever get tackled by the first guy? His contact balance is unbelievable. Like a screen, like when we didn't run the screen pass to him at the end of the Chiefs game and we did it to Cooper, I'm like, what are we doing? We had one of the best screen guys in the league here. But Shakir, with hopefully some more help from those around him, will have an even better year this year. And then I'm going to go back to the offensive line. I'm going to go to center. One of my favorite Bills as well, who was mostly in the drought era, but was able to taste a postseason in his last year. Do you know who that is?
At center? Nah, dude.
He's the Bills radio voice now.
Oh, Wood.
I love Eric Wood. Like, he's quintessential Buffalo. He's stuck in Buffalo now doing Buffalo radio.
Mm-hmm.
He was there at the draft. Remember that year we drafted him and Andy Levitre together. Started at guard, moved to center. He had to retire because of his neck issue, unfortunately.
All right.
But he's just one that he's probably like Kent Hull's a better center, I think. Mitch Morse is right there. But in terms of just likability and like somebody who is just pure Buffalo. Eric Wood is the pick for me. Brings it back to you with nobody blocking for all his skill position players at this point.
Listen, I got guys. All right, so I think I'm going to wind out the receiving board, and I'm between one of two players. But I think I know who I'm going to take. Again, a guy that I'm surprised you didn't take. A dude that, Darrelle Revis even agreed that he gave him fits, that in a year that Darrelle was shutting down Andre Johnson and DeAndre Hopkins and Chad Johnson and Terrell Owens, he could not shut down Stevie Johnson. A dude that just knew how to get open, and a guy for which, again, you put him in this era, he is a Stephon Diggs. He can just get open. Granted, his hands weren't nearly as good as Diggs, and I'll never forget that game against Pittsburgh. But I won't let that. I mean, he was again a fan favorite. He still loves Buffalo. He wrote that children's book, Buffalo in it. So Stevie Johnson to round out number 5.
And he just hosted that Bills Mafia thing with Adam Schefter like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
So he's still heavily involved with Buffalo.
Yeah.
And remember how we started the show off saying we're going to forget things? I would have taken Stevie over Shakir if I had remembered he hadn't been picked. So, yes, there sneaks in the forgetting already, and you get Stevie.
I mean, it's the same thing with like T.O. I forgot about him. I mean, if I'm being honest, I picked Marshawn not thinking about Thurman Thomas.
All right. So there's 2 already for us.
Yeah. And then, you took, and I can't argue with DeAndre Dawkins. I think he's, again, a guy who's done a lot for Buffalo. He is Buffalo, he got that award. He does continue to get better, but a guy that people forget that he got his start in Buffalo, who's arguably one of the best left tackles of our era, is Jason Peters. I mean, for the longest time, he was the best left tackle in football. Yeah, it just the ultimate came down to he went to Philly because Ralph wouldn't pay him.
Yeah.
But I think we can all agree, looking back on it, like that. I mean, granted, he would have had nobody throwing the football, but a dude that was just an Iron Man for a long time. Sure, the tail end of his career, people forget how good he was, but converted from tight end and became, like I said, one of the best left tackles in football.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer for sure.
Yeah.
So we have another one that, just like Marshawn, kind of like better known elsewhere, but was also very good for Buffalo before they got rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
So you started your offensive line. Your receiver room is filled with Diggs, Lee Evans, T.O., Reed, and Stevie. That's a pretty good receiving room. I only got 3 receivers thus far.
I was thinking, so I mean, and again, I wasn't actually going to take him, but I remember Peerless Price.
Oh, that's what I'm going to pick now.
Yeah,
just because he, with Eric Mold that year that they were together with Drew Bledsoe, was probably the funnest Bills team to watch in my lifetime outside of these Josh Allen teams. Molds and Bledsoe and Travis Henry and Peerless Price, just like that was the year the Bills had like 3 overtime games in the first 5 weeks. Won it in overtime against Minnesota. Then the kicker made that field goal. It bounced off the upright and in. They lost to the Jets opening week with the 2 kickoff returns by Johnny Morton, which I hate him just because of that. But Peerless Price, we're getting down to the not so like all-time great, but just some favorite players there. I got 1 receiver left. Got 1 running back spot left. I'm going to take a running back right now. I'm going to go Shady McCoy.
Ooh, yeah, that's a dude I forgot about.
I still remember like when that came across the TV screen. I
couldn't believe it for Kiko Alonso.
Like, what? And I remember like everyone at the time was like, "Oh man, Kiko's so great," and then Kiko did absolutely nothing after getting traded from us.
Yeah, we won that trade big time.
Yeah, and Shady was short-lived, and he's over the shoulder. You see him over my left shoulder there. That was an accidental poster buy. I wanted to buy a Bills logo poster, but grabbed the wrong one and got home and realized it.
Nice go.
But I always remember Shady in the snow against the Colts when we broke the drought.
Yep.
Like just that touchdown run how we won that game is beyond me, but we did. And just that was it. And then as much as he didn't want to go to Buffalo, I feel like he really did embrace being there once he got there.
I mean, we gave him a fat contract extension.
Yeah, that helped. So my two that round were Peerless and Shady. My running backs are done.
So the other thing that I remember about Shady is like the handful of times he got hurt on the field, it looked like career-ending injuries, and then he was back out 5 plays later. Like one time he it looked like he was grabbing his knee. I'm like, oh man, come on! I think he got maybe like either helped off or stretcher or something. Comes back in 4 or 5 plays later. I'm like, what? And he did it numerous times.
Yeah, he likes to milk it and get all the attention.
I mean, something. Okay, so time for me.
Do you want a refresher on what you need?
No, I know what I need. So I'm going to go offensive line. So I'm going to take left guard Reuben Brown.
Oh, yes.
Again,
he would have been. Was he right at the start of your Bills? I can't year wise.
Like I mean, like what my first Bills game was in 2001, and it says the last game he played for the Bills was 2003.
Yeah, so one of the Bills' all-time great offensive linemen, Reuben.
Yeah, and then I'm going to take right tackle Glenn Park.
Glenn Parker.
Parker, yeah.
Also played for the Chiefs. He was Super Bowl era.
Yeah, I mean he ended his career in Buffalo the same year. Yeah, same year that Jim did.
Yep. So, any thoughts on them?
Not really. I'm just like I said, like the offensive line. I just don't know too much about it, so I'm doing a little bit of googling as we're talking. Like Jason Peters, I watched him play. Mitch Morse, when it's my turn, he'll be my center. I watched him play. He was really good. But for the most part, right, like the offensive lineman, because I could have taken Spencer Brown, right, but he's good, but he's not great. Yeah. But for the most part, it's like we don't know. Like if you were to ask me, like right now, like what's the name of our left guard? I couldn't tell you.
No, I get it. Yeah. We have one of the best offensive lines at least now, though.
Sure, but I mean, even our O'Connor, is he the center?
Yeah, he's our center now.
Yeah, and so it just comes down to like unless it's a dude like Dion or dudes like Dion and Spencer that have they have big personalities on the field, so you can't help but know who they are. Or a guy who got drafted, out of Florida, right? And even him,
Cyrus Torrance.
Yeah, Torrance. Like 64. But other than that, it's hard to, hard to know. So no,
you got 3/5 of your line done at least now, though.
Yeah.
I'm also going to go offensive line with my next pick. I'm going to go with Eric Wood's buddy, Richie Incognito at left guard.
Ah, yeah, Richie. Forgot about him too.
I mean, again, we're ignoring all of his other things, but as a Buffalo Bill, numerous times, mind you, him and Wood were a pretty good tandem. And just always think of him just like a bully kind of, right? Which he was off the field as well by the sounds of it. But like he wasn't going to mess around on the field. So left guard there. So I have a left guard. I have a center. I have a left. I have nothing on the right side. Oh, I cannot. I'm going to have to look this one up. I don't remember if John Fina played left or right tackle. I have to look it up quick. John Fina.
How embarrassing.
I am kind of embarrassed. It just says tackle. Oh, he's a left tackle. Darn it. That does not work. Why couldn't he have played one season of right tackle? All right, well, we're gonna go. I need another receiver. I have Eric Mould, James Lofton, Shakir, Peerless Price. I know what I need. I need a Cole Beasley.
Yuck. Man, my team's going to stomp yours.
Nope. I have.
You got Khalil Shakir and Cole Beasley.
Yeah, well, my defense is going to wreck your defense.
No.
Yeah, but Cole Beasley, when he was good, somebody in the slot. I have all like outside deep guys, so I needed somebody to work the middle with Shakir. So we can go 5 wide and had nobody to do any of that nonsense. So we all know Beasley. I'm gonna remember his first few years in Buffalo, not a second stint. So those are my 2 picks. Or that
okay. Then I'm going to go right guard. And I'm reading it right here in the Bills website, and that this person had his first season was at right guard. Then he moved to left tackle, but that doesn't matter. So Will Wolford.
He was Super Bowl. He was one of the. He was an Iron Man. He played a ton of games for Buffalo.
Yeah, 86 to 92. Yeah, it says he began his career as a right guard, but by his second season he was left tackle. But that doesn't matter. Okay, and then tight end. I'm gonna go tight end, and even though he didn't turn out probably as good as we would have hoped for the Bills, I still think he was. Oh, am I gonna go him? No. I'm going to take Jay Remersma.
Jay Remersma. All right. So that was going to be one of my people I didn't think you would pick.
I honestly, I was looking for guys. I'm like, hang on. Who do I know that fostered my pick? Oh, yeah, him.
He was one of the first people that I remember my dad loves he's always loved the tight end position. Like I don't know why, but like I always have like safeties and defensive backs. He's always been so he's like, I always remember him yelling at Remersma and everything. And anytime a tight end does something, I always text him like, oh, there's your tight end. Or if he does something bad, I'm like, oh, there's your tight end.
But honestly, though, that's the one name that I can recall hearing you and your dad talk about when we were kids for Jay Remersma. So I was like, this has got to be a guy that Foster might take.
And the thing is, like, he would make spectacular catches and then he would drop the easiest things in the world. Like I remember like a couple like tip pass toes drag. Like, how did he catch that? Then something over in the middle, nobody on him, like off his chest into the ground.
Yeah.
But he was the first like tight end that I really remember watching.
And wasn't he a decent blocker?
Yeah, he was a good all around. Oh, I just found who I'm picking. Thankfully, he was right tackle. Okay. So that was your first pick.
No, I remember I picked 2. I picked the Will Wolford.
Oh, and then that's right.
Yep. So I need a center and a tight end.
Wolford. All right. I'm going right tackle for you. Howard Ballard.
Howard.
He was one of those first big-time free agents when the NFL put free agency in where he left Buffalo. He was a Pro Bowl right tackle for Buffalo. They called him House Ballard. He was like huge. But I think it was the 3rd Super Bowl was when he left, if I remember correctly. He signed with Seattle. Both him and Nate Odoms did. Nate Odoms wrecked his knee playing basketball and really never did anything after that again. So it was a good thing we got let him go at that point.
That's why you don't leave Buffalo.
Yeah, exactly. So I have right tackle, I have left tackle, center, and left guard. I need a right guard. I need to finish out the offensive line.
Yeah, right guard was a challenge.
Yeah, it is. Got to be somebody I like here. Ugh, we're not very good. I I should have taken Eric Wood as a right guard instead of a center. Oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Osiris. Looking at the right guards from what I've seen, he's probably already one of the best right guards of this era. And you and I always say how he doesn't get the love he needs. Well, now he's getting it. He's on our fantasy football offensive line. He's going to own whoever you pick on defensive line.
Doubtful.
So my offensive line is done. Back to you.
Okay. So for center, I'm going to go Mitch Morse.
Yep.
Again, he wasn't in Buffalo for a long time, but I think he became a fan favorite, a Josh favorite, a really vocal leader, just an all-around good dude, a good player. I mean, his concussions, I think, hurt him some, but I think he was a really, really solid center for us that really helped Josh's development into the player he is. Because that is one thing where we give Stephon Diggs a lot of credit, but I don't think we give enough credit to Mitch Morse in terms of learning protections, calling out protections. I think Mitch helped him a lot. And then lastly, so the last tight end, again, this is tough because the list is short. So I bounce between, all right, is it Charles Clay? Nah. Is it, Knox? Because he's a bit of a fan favorite, even though I think he still has a lot to prove. I'm going to go Dalton Kincaid. I think he will likely end his career as our best tight end ever. He definitely has flashes. He's not quite the blocker. I think this year will be a big year for him because we don't give enough credit to him playing hurt and how much that limited his productivity. And ultimately in the red zone, like he was double teamed constantly. So, we'll finish off my draft with Dalton Kincaid.
You still need a running back.
Do I? Didn't I draft 2?
We're doing 3.
Okay. Well, then I guess I have one more pick.
Yeah, one more. I have to pick 2 tight ends, and I also have a running back. So my 2 tight ends, I saved till the end. I was going to pick Reamersma, figuring that he would not get picked. So you left me a little choice. 1, Scott Chandler.
I saw him too, but woof.
I mean, in terms of what the Bills have had in their history, he's unfortunately one of the best. I will never pick Charles Clay. I will not pick Robert Royal.
Mr. Can't drag his toes.
So I think I'm going to have to go, since we like to go extra offensive lineman, I'm going to take Lee Smith. We're going to be blocking and protecting Jim Kelly. So now we're down to each one running back left.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I've got 2, and I think you might pick the one that I don't pick. So I think probably the 2 better ones of our era are going to be Willis McGahee and C.J. Spiller. C.J. Spiller was a guy for which if you could pluck him and put him in our backfield now, he does everything that James Cook does, but with much more strength and power. He had absolute burner speed, great hand. I mean, his highlights were just phenomenal. But he played in an era where he had you knew he was the focal point because he had no one to throw the ball. But the guy that I am going to take is someone who is in the same sort of position, but he still was able to get yards, and that's Willis McGahee.
Yep. I remember whenever what Josh does against the Dolphins, he did against the Jets.
Yeah.
Whenever McGahee played the Jets, you knew he was going to have a monster game.
Yeah. And, he had a lot of, 1, 2, 3, 4,000-yard seasons throughout his career. I mean, obviously came into the league with that major knee injury, but even as a rookie, started 11 games, had over 1,100 yards, 13 touchdowns.
And that was sharing time with Travis Henry, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and so you could do worse as your third string back.
Yep. I will take CJ Spiller. I almost took him as my second running back. I remember the one year that he was able to be featured kind of showed what he could have been if they let him be that guy. Like he showed, like you said, he could do everything. He was fast. He was bigger than James Cook is. I would say probably faster than James Cook.
Yeah, he ran a 4.37 40.
Yeah, he could catch, and just I don't know why it didn't work out for him. I think running back is probably one of the positions the Bills have done the best with over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Of just finding people who can, like, we didn't include Antoine Smith in this. He would have been a really good running. Like, he won Super Bowl with New England. Right, we got Kenneth Davis, one of the best, really true number 2 backs ever. Like he was putting up 500-600 yards as Thurman Thomas's backup. And even like if we go back before we were born, O.J. Simpson, Cookie Gilchrist, all those like all-timer type guys. So that'd be our rosters. Our final rundown. Oh, God. God, I couldn't erase some of this. It's so old.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. That's when I thought I was going to have this hanging for ripping cards, and I realized it's way too big of a thing, and I bought a smaller one. So I'm going to do my best to read it. You had Josh Allen at quarterback. Oh, we never drafted backup quarterbacks. We're not done yet.
Oh, so that means, I mean, you can obviously still have Spiller. Well, I mean, my backup quarterback would be Drew Bledsoe.
All right, I'm going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
He won't be like Bledsoe and pout and want to fight Josh Allen to be number 1. Fitzpatrick knows what he is. Frank Reich would have been a good show. Like, and also like somebody who came in and showed like he could always win if need be. But all right, now we have it. So you have Josh Allen and Drew Bledsoe in your quarterback room. You have Marshawn Lynch, Travis Henry, and then you just took Willis McGahee. That's a really good Henry and McGahee back together again. I will say probably your wide receiver room is probably aside from Eric Moulds, the top Bills receivers. You have Diggs, Lee Evans, T.O., I was going to say Josh Reed, Andre Reed, and Stevie Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
You took Reamersma and Kincaid. Then you have Glenn Parker, right tackle. Left tackle is Peters. Left guard, Reuben Brown. Right guard, Will Wolford. Then I forgot who were your right.
Mitch Morse.
Oh, Mitch Morse. So, pretty solid team. I had Jim Kelly and Fitz as my quarterback room, Thurman Thomas, Fred Jackson, Shady McCoy as my running backs. Eric Moulds, James Lofton, Shakir, Peerless Price, and Beasley. I will say your receivers probably beat mine.
I think your running backs beat mine.
I have Scott Chandler and Lee Smith.
Both of our tight ends suck.
Yeah, they're not the best. And then I think our offensive lines are pretty balanced. I have Deion Dawkins, Eric Wood at center, left guard Reggie Incognito, right tackle Howard Ballard, and I don't remember who I wrote down as right guard.
Osiris Torrance.
That's right, Torrance. So that was a fun exercise. It took 50. I did not think it'd take 50 minutes, but here we are, almost an hour later.
Yeah, it was fun.
So who would be somebody that people you think could argue that we should have had on our list somewhere?
See, I mean, so Charles Clay, right? I mean,
yeah.
Remember when we signed him, we were super pumped, but I think we're marred by the lack of productivity we thought that we'd get, for which a lot of that is due to the quarterback situation, and that drop that he had against Miami that cost Josh a win against the Dolphins. And so I think we're jaded by that.
And it seems his knee was more of an issue for us than it was in Miami.
Right. I think another guy that we didn't talk about, but frankly, or two guys that you might put in over Ryan Fitzpatrick are Kyle Orton, which got us that 10-win season that we hadn't had in forever, and Tyrod Taylor, who broke the streak. What about you?
No, Tyrod's a good one. He was one that I considered. I just still think of Fitz like he still loves Buffalo. He still remember shirtless in the playoffs. And I remember when we beat New England to end that streak, Sports Illustrated did an article about him in particular, that because back when they were doing weekly, and like how after the game he went to his house in Buffalo and just like he had people from his neighborhood just coming to drink beers with him. So like he was Buffalo. So I think that I will really like I love JP Lossman. He's somebody that I think was in the wrong era.
Yep.
You think about what he did and like how it came out, like Malarkey didn't want him to run. Like now it would be embraced. A team would build around what he does instead of trying to make him something he isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed flashes of what he could be. But he never I think he was in the wrong era. There's lots of like Super Bowl era Bills that I would have loved to put on here. Don Beebe, I would have loved to put on there. Like he's just one of my favorite Bills players. And you and I met him at the Don Beebe's House of Speed in Bath when he came that one time.
Yeah, I just don't like his last name.
Yeah, I figure that's why you wouldn't pick him. But a lot of the people, like, I think defense is going to be really hard to narrow down who we're going to put there. I think defense will be harder than offense. Because I think often the times, like, we've had good defense and just the offense was garbage for so much of our lives.
Yeah. But the defense, though, it's going to be, I mean, frankly, it's going to be like, there's going to be guys who are good that we're not going to be able to include.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll have to come. Maybe we'll make some rules for maybe just straight up defensive line instead of position. Because so much now is like versatility of going along the defensive line.
Right.
Something like that. But like you think just linebackers, just from the 2000s forward, you got Spikes and Fletcher and Milano and like some of my favorites, like John DiGiorgio back like number 52, like in Georgia, like Holisek, who had a couple great years for like just people that flashed for us. Mm-hmm. And then like Angelo Crowell, like remember him, like after Spikes, I thought, oh, Crowell, and then he got hurt and just so.
Yeah. I mean, we had Sean Merriman for a year. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't quite the same guy, not being on PEDs, but
I remember him celebrating that sack in the preseason like he just won the Super Bowl. And the offensive lineman after the game saying, man, this guy's doing this in the preseason. But that was fun, I thought. Go through and reminisce and talk about old players. And I would have taken Stevie over Shakir, so the receiver rooms would have been a little bit more balanced if I had remembered Stevie Johnson.
I mean, I think, too, we've had a good number of corners as well.
Oh, God.
Corners and safeties. I know one of your favorite guys, Aaron Williams.
Oh, I love Aaron Williams.
Yeah, same.
I might take him first just so you don't get him.
Yeah, I'll never like that receiver for Miami. What's his name?
Landry.
There we go, Jarvis Landry. I will, because he ended his career with a cheap shot block.
And he just Williams got better and better as he moved to safety. And
yeah, he was still pretty young, right? 26, 27 when he
not old.
Had to retire. And Jarvis Landry.
Bird played really well for us at safety.
No, Jarius Bird. I mean, Ainsley has one of his an autographed card from Bird somewhere, but then he left Buffalo to go to New Orleans and womp, womp, womp.
Yeah, I always and then like people like George Wilson. Like outside of Buffalo, nobody knows who George Wilson is, but he played a long time for Buffalo, and he had one of those return touchdowns for the Bills against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
He's way better in person. That's going to be a topic for after we do the defenses. We're going to pick the most heartbreaking Bills losses of our generation.
Oh, goody. Goody.
You go trip down memory lane on that one.
Yeah, no, right.
That one we might have to have Ainsley join us as well.
Sure.
But that was fun. Next week, it might be Monday. I'm going to New York next week, and so depending on travel and how quickly I get set up, we might be on Monday next week. Just it all depends. But we will. Our next one will finish out our draft. We will have our defense. So just like this, we'll have a number of players we have to fill at each position, and then we'll include specialists next week. So we need to have a punter and kicker.
Ooh.
It's going to be a battle for, I think, one punter, I believe.
Right, yeah, Mormon.
I might take Mormon because he is – we mentioned Kyle and Fred Jackson being the face of the drought era.
Yeah, Mormon was our best player.
Mormon was our best player, and that's not even a joke for a handful of years.
Yeah.
Like, he was legitimately, probably one of the three faces of our franchise.
I tell you, someone that I'm still mad that we got rid of was Corey Bajorquez. Like, why? Like, that dude had a monster leg, embraced the cold.
I think it's just because they didn't like how he held. Like, we can work around that.
Yeah. Still makes
no
sense.
And we don't have a punter still.
Yeah. Ariza is another one.
Yep. We should have just let the system play out. That's what the commissioner's exempt list is supposed to be for.
Mm-hmm.
All right, put them on that. Wait till everything clears out, and then you figure out from there. I think if this had happened now instead of years ago, like a couple of years ago, I think we would have done that.
Yeah.
I think during that time period, it was just like everybody's like knee jerk, right? Got to get rid of people if they're accused of anything. But it was a fun show. We ended up getting 3 people at the end. So thank you for joining us at the end. Sorry you missed us. Although usually we do start at 10, so we did get on a little bit early this time. But we thank you all for joining us. You can watch it anytime back on YouTube. It is posted on Spotify and Apple Podcasts within 24 hours as well. So for Dr. Dungan, I am Lawrence Foster saying, as we always do, go Bills.